You're in the rant wormhole where I rant about whatever my $15 a month plus patrons want me to rant about. Today's rant is brought to you by Aiden Mead, who says, rant about Fate Stay Night. Now, I'm not the biggest Fate Stay Night fan. However, I do have some appreciation for the series on the whole, because, for one thing, the guy who did the character designs for the Type Moon games is one of my favorite character designers. His designs are phenomenal, and that is obviously the biggest reason that Fate Stay Night is so successful. Like, right off the bat, I want us all to acknowledge that the character design of Saber, in particular, is why Fate Stay Night is so fucking successful. People fucking love Saber. They love Tosaka Rin as well. They love all the girls, but Saber is like on another level, insanely popular as a character. And the original visual novel, like, it's full of cool, edgy power systems and shit. I understand why people nerd out about, like, all the fucking the powers and stuff, because, like, people just love fucking power versus power matches, like fucking JoJo shit, fucking anything that pits guys with, like, a complex web of powers against each other. Like, people geek out over that shit. And I am not, like, as interested. Like, I don't think I care as much about Nen as the average Hunter x Hunter fan does. Like, it's cool to see the powers interact, but, like, I don't care as much about the logic of why anything's happening, or, you know, like, making sure everything makes sense in universe together, and, like, that kind of stringency. I had to remind myself what I was talking about. Fate Stay Night is, like, the way it's written is very rambling, and, like, it's very edgy in a way that I don't mind so much, because I like edgy light novels and shit. But, like, the thing about visual novels is they get away with being so fucking long. Like, they will just ramble and ramble and ramble because the games are expected to be long, because they're trying to give you, like, a game, you know, of some denomination. There's usually branching paths and shit, which I don't want to deal with. Like, I am not interested in reloading saves and going down different paths. Like, when I play games that have branching paths, I prefer to just go down the one that I did and then just be done, you know? And, like, if there's death states, then it's just like, oh, I don't want to have to fucking deal with all this shit, you know? I don't want to have to look at a strategy guide to know what options to pick to get through on my first go. And, like, so I played probably, like, an hour and a half of it at some point. And, like, at first I was, like, really hating it, because I hated the writing style in the opening segment. But I was okay with Rin, and I, you know, again, I just love her character design. She's, like, one of my personal top 10 hottest anime girls, top 5 possibly. So, you know, like, I was, like, curious to give it more of a shot, but not enough to entice me to play through, like, 90 hours of reading, of, like, dialogue that I don't think is incredible, you know, or monologue, whatever, narration. So, I've also watched, like, 6 episodes of the original Studio Dean anime, which was almost good. Like, the visual style of it is interesting. The directors have done a lot of weird shit, and it was a very interesting style that they took on it, but it just gets so bogged down in fucking exposition at a certain point that it's, like, unwatchable. So, I think I got to, like, episode 6 of that. And I've seen the Unlimited Blade Works movie that Dean did, which was okay. It was, like, a good way to just get a sense of what the hell actually happens in Fate Stay Night on some level, because, like, if you view it from the outside, it seems like an impenetrable fucking clusterfuck. There's so many characters. Every time that a new one starts, they have to set up, like, all this shit before the ball can start rolling. And then, like, it just kind of becomes a death game. And I've never been into death game stories in general anyways. But, like, the way that Fate Stay Night plays out is just so, like, weird. And, you know, there's crazy shit, like the Lolly getting her heart torn out. So, like, seeing that was like, okay, I kind of get it now. And then, I watched Fate Zero, and I like Fate Zero plenty, and I like that because I like Urobuchi Gen. I like the way that he just writes about ideals as characters. It's satisfying to watch because it means the show's about something, and it had great animation from UFO Table. And I was, hype about them doing this shit because I had just seen Kara no Kyokai, which I absolutely loved. Um, and I thought that Fate Zero seemed like it was built on the thought of okay, well, Fate Stay Night is kind of shit and incomprehensible as a story because the biggest problem with it is that the whole the mechanism of the fighting thing doesn't make any goddamn sense. It's everybody's spying on each other, so and trying to gather information, but everybody is doing it. So everybody knows what's going on with everybody else. So every time somebody makes a move, everyone else instantly reacts to it, and there's usually some kind of factionalizing right away because everybody knows what's going on with everybody else. There's no way to keep it hidden. They're all just around the city, the whole they make such a big deal out of the process of discovering who's who, but it's basically just the story is a bunch of, ooh, are we going to figure out who's the guy? And then once you know who all the guys are, then it's oh, all the guys, now we know who they all are, so they're all going to kill each other, It's just a weird undulation of a narrative. And it's the worst thing about Fate Zero, is that it has to even do that. That they even decided to adapt this part of the timeline when they could have done anything, But nonetheless, it's a pretty good show. Fate Stay Night Unlimited Blade Works. I watched the prequel episode and I thought it was okay. I thought that the artwork was incredible, but I really hated what they had done to the character designs, giving them the weird shovel faces, and so I only watched that prequel episode, and then I heard that the show was boring from my friends, and it looked boring from what I had seen of clips of it and shit, and I was fuck this show, I don't care enough. And then the deluge of Fate side crap just got so nauseating because I didn't mind Prisma Ilia because it's cute and it has great gifts come from it. Lolly makeout scenes for the win. I only watched 6 episodes. I didn't care for it, but it seemed like a sincere effort to make something good. And then you get to Fate Grand Order and it feels like an advertisement for a fucking card game. That when you go to Anime Expo, there are buses everywhere with Fate Grand Order ads attached to them, and there's billboards for it everywhere and shit. And it's just this game is insanely fucking massive. It's making crazy money, and they're just making more Fate shit so that they can pump up the popularity of this game. And I mean, it used to be that they were doing it to sell all the sequels and shit, because, they made a bunch of the Fate games, and every single time they just clone the main characters, because those designs are already successful, and they can sell it in any fucking outfit. They're just like the Ava girls, you've got Rin and fucking Saber in every imaginable fucking form. Every age, every fucking universe. They got their kids, you got their fucking, dark version, fucking... Everybody's got a million different variations because the character designs were already such a win that just putting a small spin on them is enough that you can sell the figures all the fuck over again, So, throughout the 2000s, that was the game, was, let's push the sequel games and the figure sales and the fucking dojins, and it's going to be an economy unto itself of these fucking girls, just like Ava. And then it became, we've got a mobile game that we've thrown all of this fucking arcana into, that we've built around the series, and now everybody's just playing that. So let's just fucking keep the hype train going and make as much Fate crap as possible. I'm fucking sick of it. It has nothing to do with what it originally was. So who even cares? Why do you even care that Fate's name is attached to anything? You can't keep fucking fapping to the same waifu forever. Or can you?